All right, so begin with our first conversation here in studio. Joining me right now is engineer Lucy Wanjiku. She's the founder and CEO of EcoCycle Limited. Hi, Lucy.
Hi, good morning,
and
Betty.
happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day to you too.
Great to have you here in studio. Who are you celebrating? I'm asking everybody who they're celebrating today. Who is that person who you're celebrating, the woman you're celebrating today?
Just like everyone is talking about their moms,
Right.
I'm happy to celebrate my mom.
Yeah.
She's been a strong pillar. Our dad left us when we were young children, all 5 of us, and she's been strong and there for us and encouraging us. So I really celebrate my mom and all other women in the world. Yeah.
Great. And, you know, we are here and we celebrate you too because you've been able to break the ceiling in something that in your work, what you're doing right now, and it's so special. But even before we get to that, what do you think we should be celebrating around the world when it comes to women? Do you think we've been able to make strides in women empowerment? Just generally speaking, we've come from a time when, you know, women never used to be CEOs. Right now we have quite a number of them. But in your take, what do you think about the strides we've made so far in empowering women?
To be honest, I think we've made great strides since when the women issues have been advocated for. If I could just pick special areas, like in Kenya alone, if you look at leadership in the political arena, at least we have more representation. When you talk about my field, we normally call it STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and maths. Recently, LinkedIn had a survey, and they've seen that between the year 2000 up to 2018, we've had about more 40% women taking up roles in the technological field.
When 40%, that's huge.
Yes, so it's a huge leap, and that was based on the people that we have on LinkedIn. And, you know, LinkedIn is quite a big network. Yes. So strides in education, strides in positions, leadership. And when you think of matters of raising family, a lot has been said about creating workspaces that sort of support women. When we think about maternity leave and working, it's quite a big issue. And I know a lot of companies have made strides on embracing maternity leave, giving women flexible hours so that they're able to attend to their kids. Right. And the fact that even men are being encouraged to take paternal leave is also supporting a role that was purely left for women before. Right. So to be honest, I think we've made great strides.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been speaking to quite a number of women to do with, you know, women empowerment. And a number of them, quite a huge chunk of them, are saying also that women should stop sitting back and, you know, being the victim and actually get out there and do stuff. And like you're saying, like in your field, you know, you have science, technology, and exactly, and maths. And you're saying that there's a 40% growth in the number of women who are getting into that into that industry. But do you also feel like it's time that women also, we stop the, oh, I'm a woman, so maybe you should treat me a little bit better because, you know, it's already so hard enough for us, and we should be able to just get out there and do stuff?
Sure. Just to say, as we look at this theme of press for change, one thing that I would encourage all of us to embrace is like sort of celebrate what we've achieved so far. Because as we say, we've made a lot of strides. So instead of playing the victim, if we can all come out, all the women, whatever we've achieved, and I believe every woman, no matter whether they are a CEO or a farmer in the farm or just a mother running the home, it's an achievement. So we need to come out and celebrate all those so that we can inspire other young upcoming women that it's not a victim's game. We've already achieved a lot. So if we can come out and celebrate all that and show up, I think we will move away from the victim position and show that it's possible, that we are doing it, it's achievable. And we are all made in God's image. So the human mind, whether you're a man or a woman, is unlimited. So actually, to me, I don't even think there's a ceiling. It's the ceiling is if you have it mentally with you. But if in your mental status you're very open and without limit, you can achieve what you set yourself to achieve.
I like that. All right, and of course the pictures that you've been seeing on your screens, that is Lucy at work. So talk to us about EcoCycle. Like I said, you went into an industry that not many women have ventured into. So talk to us about EcoCycle. What is it all about?
So EcoCycle is a company that focuses on environmental solutions, engineering solutions to protect the environment. And our core product is a product that recycles sewage. Sewage is the wastewater that you produce from your toilets, from your bathrooms, from your kitchen. We all dump it to the septic tanks or to the municipal sewer. But we have this technology that converts it back to clean water that you can reuse to flush your toilets. You can reuse it to keep your lawns green. And what that means is you save fresh water intake. We are all talking about the forests have been depleted.
Exactly.
Soon we'll go out of water. There's a problem of clean water. So this is one of the ways to contain lack of water, and part of SDG, Sustainable Development Goal number 6, that talks about sanitation and clean water. So that's what we provide. We just call it turning sewage to clean water, so that we can contain the pollution menace, contain sanitation-related diseases, as well as preserve freshwater reserves for what is human consumption.
Yeah, human consumption. Okay, so we're seeing the pictures on the screen. So talk to us. What is like your daily routine like? So do you visit? What happens? Like what is happening on screen right now?
So what's happening on screen right now is actually a big installation that we have in Kitengela, a gated community. So what would be my critical, a typical day look like? So the days vary depending on whether I have site work or I have meetings in the office. But every time when I go to my office, one thing that I even encourage my team to do is I like to jot everything down like a kindergarten kid. In my daily plan, I always write down what I want to achieve. So I have meetings, I have sales, I have meetings with my own team, I have a bit of mentorship sessions, we have designing. So when we sell a wastewater recycling system, it would involve simply approaching people like you, a homeowner or a developer. So we do a lot of just cold emailing or cold marketing, approaching people that we would think are potential buyers. Our potential buyers would range between an individual, a developer. We deal a lot with other consultants in our field. That would be architects, QSs, civil engineers. So we have a lot of meetings approaching all those. We also do a lot of site tours, you know, doubting Thomases in Kenya. For you to sell something or anywhere in the world,
they have to see.
You have to show somebody. So our daily work also involves taking people around operational systems for them to see and believe that actually sewage can turn back to clean water. So it's a lot of moving, meetings, presentations, convincing people. So it's not only technical skills. There's a lot of interpersonal and PR and marketing, because for you to give value to people, you have to convince them, you have to create awareness. So it's a whole cycle, not just purely engineering and design and
not the
drawings.
tech stuff only, not the technical stuff. All right, so we'll take a short commercial break, but we'll come back and continue with the conversation. If you have any question that you want to put across to Engineer Lucy Wanjiku, if you're a man or woman out there and you want to know if you can, how you can get into this, maybe you feel like you can actually pursue this, talk to me. Hashtag, of course, is KTN News Center, or tweet me at Betty M. Kialo. We'll continue the conversation in the next few minutes. Don't go away.
This is KTN News.
I remain committed to advancing Beyond Zero's commitment to promoting access to quality health services for women, men, adolescents, and children. And I want us all to consider simple questions. What will you do to drive change? What mark will you make in history? How will you inspire other women and men to make their mark in history?
Don't we all just love a pie? Also, what a delicious way to think about wealth. It shows how much. On Business Today, we want to know how money is made and spent and who decided where it goes. On Business Today, we will meet those people and hear their ideas, and along the way, help you find your profitable piece of the pie.
The introduction of the new inter-county train service will not only ease transport, but also boost local tourism.
Businesses have started to look inwards within Kenya and the greater East Africa region. How is this working out for you?
Produced in Africa by Africans and for the African population.
Allow for easier trade and easier movement of goods across borders.
miaka mitano hii, siasa itacheza sehemu gani kuathiri ama kuleta maendeleo Mombasa?
Kama unajulikana wewe ulikuwa mrengo fulani, unaweza enda pale upate usaidizi kwa yule mtu ambaye amechaguliwa pale, utafuta usaidizi. Lakini akikujua huyu kwa alikuwa mrengo fulani, huwa anakubagua.
Hakuna ajira ya vijana. Watu wamesoma lakini hawapati ajira.
Governor alikuja akapeana blanket ban. Akasema kutoka leo hakuna kutupa takataka.
Utumiaji na uuzaji wa madawa kulevya, kuanzia bangi, heroin, brown sugar, balaa zote zipatikana katika jiji hili la Mombasa.
Kwa nini shehe?
Usalama huo utapatikana wapi? Na usalama ndiyo maendeleo.
This is KTN News.
It's that time of the year again when the world takes stock of the achievements and milestones made by women in various fields. The International Women's Day is here with us, and this year's theme is Press for Progress. On News Center this morning, we have a special coverage for you on this day that is marked with matches, talks and performances across the globe. We will be celebrating some of our heroines on this show, as we also focus on the safety of women in Kenya, especially in the public service vehicles. Right, welcome back to News Center. Thank you very much for staying with us. Remember also on our tweet poll this morning, we're asking you who is that woman you're celebrating today and why. Very many people really talking about their moms. If I can just sample one or two before we continue with our conversation. Somebody here, Obadi, says, celebrate my mom, Monica Awandu, who raised us single-handedly after our dad passed away to be the people we are today. All right, somebody here also, Munene Mudhusi, you say, unequivocally celebrating the late Mama Lucy Kibaki, who single-handedly rooted useless cartels out of State House. Interesting tweet there. But thank you very much for your tweets. Obadi, you also said, celebrate Mildred, Andere, Anne, and Ayalo. These wonderful women mentored me some years back at the YWCA in Siaya. Keep them coming. I'll continue to sample them here on the show. Let's come back to our conversation with engineer Lucy Wanjiku. She is the CEO and founder of EcoCycle. What they do there is that they turn sewage water into water that can be used, not for human consumption, but of course to use in the lawns and flushing toilets and so much, cleaning cars and everything. So is this what you wanted to do from the get-go, from the time you were in school, maybe high school, university? Is it what you wanted to do, or has it been a journey of different paths?
Okay, to be honest, since I was a kid, I happened to have grown up among 4 brothers. So I grew up already being like a tomboy.
Yeah.
So those days we didn't have a lot of plastic. There was Kimbo in tin. There was everything in things that were recyclable. So we were making cars out of tin. We were trying to make the things that the boys make.
Yeah.
That was more of my interest rather than the pinky dolly-like things. So it's like a destiny, or the way I was born sort of led me to being because engineers might be thought to be like tomboy. Like if you're a tomboy as a lady, you're likely to be an engineer. So by virtue of birth, I was already inclined to that side. And in the house, I was fascinated by things. I would break up stuff just to see what's inside. So I think since I was a kid, I was already destined for that path. But I remember my mother was sort of, because my late dad was a doctor. So my mother thought of I should have been a doctor, but by the time I left high school and I told her about my choices, she was supportive, and my choices through university were all 3 engineering degrees in different universities, and I landed mechanical engineering in Moi University. Yes.
After that, now that's the time you decided to start your company. Did you do it immediately after campus? Were you that lucky?
I was not that lucky. It was a journey of job hunt. Just it was in the mid 2000s, around 2005. So it was a usual hectic path of leaving university, start sending your applications, and you look for jobs. And by the virtue that I grew up in the farm and we were in this environment where my mom planted lots of trees, she was very passionate. I even remember she was part of the Green Belt movement. So I had this passion for the environment, and I had also passion for technology. So every time around me, I thought of, when I become an engineer, I would want to make up something that is technological but sort of preserves the environment. So I went through different phases of job applications, and the first area I landed was automotive engineering, DT Dobby, GM, Toyota, and somehow I always ended up in the department. I was in the production department, like at General Motors, but I remember just being put in charge of looking at waste management, waste control, and recycling things that are used in the production line to assemble cars and minimize waste. So it's like my interest for saving resources and recycling and reusing was visible even to the people around me. So after being at GM and through the automotive industry, I always had also this passion to go to a country that I think is advanced in engineering and further my knowledge. So one time I came across a scholarship to Germany that was very interesting, and it was gonna expose me to another automotive company. So I applied to it, and I got it, and I went to Germany. Now, while in Germany, although working in an automotive tire company, I was also curious about how things function in Germany. And what struck me the first time I got into Germany is the order and the environment, so green, so clean. So although I was there on automotive ground, I got interested. How do they do all this stuff? So one time I was working in one of the beautiful parks in Hanover, the city in the north where I was living. And in the park, I came across, I saw something, and I remember asking one of the people working in the park, how do you get this water, this clean water? Where does it come from to keep the lawn green? And I was told about recycling. And while also chatting to another German friend while I was in Germany, they told me about trade fairs that show technology that is about saving the environment. And I decided to attend. And while I attended, now I came across this recycling technology that turns sewage to clean water. I couldn't believe it. I said, this is what we need back home. Because when I moved to the city I remember moving from Machakos to the city after graduation, one thing I didn't like is the fact that while I was going around dropping my CVs, I had to skip Hope over sewer lines. It was not interesting. So I said, this is the solution we need back home. And although I do not have capital right now, I'm not sure I can open a company. That was in 2008. One day I must do this. And it stuck in my head, and I just kept working towards it. And when I came back from Germany, instead of going back into automotive, I actually got hired by somebody else that had returned from the US with the same idea of rolling out wastewater recycling. So that's where I started, and one of my first project that I'm very proud of is the Enashipai Spa and Resort. The green grass you see there is courtesy of reclaimed wastewater from the people that when you go and stay there, whatever you produce is recycled back. So that has been my journey for over 9 years.
9 years.
And then in 2014 is when I decided to found my own
company.
EcoCycle.
All right. So before we even get to 2014, there are a couple of things, I've heard from you. And one of them is the hunger, because, you got an opportunity, you decided to apply for the scholarship. Many of us, you see an opportunity, you're like, why should I apply? Will I really, really get it? But what I'm getting from you is that every opportunity you got to either learn something or do something, you went at it. Do you think that, not even women, just generally, even the youth in the country right now, are that hungry? Do you feel that they need to be maybe a bit hungry and a bit motivated in going after, what they want, just the same way you did?
Yeah, actually, I must commend the youth. They're really hungry. If you look at the tech buzz, there's a lot of hunger. Maybe now what we need to contain is just to encourage people to go through a path, because it's like people want to be instantly become glorious instantly. If you look at my path, I've been through a lot of things. Like I moved from GM, I moved from Toyota. All this time it was this yearning to learn more. And I don't know whether I was this kid that got bored really fast. If every day I did the same job that didn't challenge my brains, I wanted the next challenge. I remember even my mother was worried that I was being too risky. Now, I don't like telling people in life that this is wrong, this is what you should do, this is what is right. But for me, what I did is I was okay to take risks. One time I left a job and I wasn't sure whether I was going to get the scholarship when I was at GM. I remember speaking to the CEO and he's asking me, are you sure you want to leave the job and just go back to study? And I said, yes, I want to do this. So somehow to progress in life, risks are part of it. Taking serious risks and being strong. And as a woman, you do not have, or not even as a woman, as any human being, you do not have to compromise things for you to grow up the ladder. Just go for what you think is your dream. Be around those people that you feel really see your inspiration, see your dreams and grow it. And when you grow and when you achieve, if you feel like you've gone above the glass ceiling or you hit the ceiling, always remember the people around you, because the more you inspire, mentor people, teach them, you're also learning, the younger people come with new things, and ideas. As you teach them, they challenge you and you learn. So it's like, again, just like recycling. It's like
recycling. Look at that.
It's a circular, I call it a circular way of life.
I like that. So coming to 2014, of course, one of the things that you mentioned also was that it was, you didn't know where you'd get the capital from. And I want you to talk about that, because it's also another issue even that is affecting many people, many young women, men, who have brilliant ideas, but just getting that money to start something, always so hard. So how was it for you?
So as you heard from me, even before I went to my own eco-cycle, I was already working with recycling. So one asset that I have found very viable, and I would encourage every young person and every professional, whatever you do it so well. Be an expert. The way Martin Luther King says, if you're sweeping, sweep like you're the last sweeper on earth. So by doing that, what you do is you win end users' confidence or potential clients' confidence. You prove your expertise and you prove your professionalism. And another thing that people like is reliability, honesty, integrity. So if you have those, even without capital, you can go somewhere. Because in my case, what happened is I had people believe in me because of their previous interactions with me.
So you do.
So when I moved and said, now I'm actually doing this under my own brand, EcoCycle Limited. So do you think you would order from me? It was amazing how I was able to get the first 4 orders in 2014. So it's whatever you're doing, wherever you're engaged. What I would like to encourage young people is just be an expert. Don't think about the money. Don't think about getting rich quick. Just be an expert. Whatever you do every day, learn, because the more you learn, the more an expert you become. So by having that virtue of learning, mentoring others, being somebody that's reliable, that people believe in you, and you're an expert, then I don't even think there will be a room for people to look at you as a woman or a young person or somebody that just graduated. If you can deliver, if you can give value, if you can convince customers to pay for something that they need in a way that's comfortable for them, and then it gives you enough revenue for your business to survive, then you'll be doing it.
Then do it.
Yes,
and
so
like
capital should not be such a
the
big
main
issue. If you think about business schools in maybe 20 years ago, maybe they always said you have to have a venture capitalist, you have to have the capital. But you see the way the world is moving so fast, we have e-commerce, so things are happening in a bit of a different way. Like you can reach a big market. Like right now, we are reaching
online.
thousands of viewers. So maybe if it was years ago, before people would know about my product, maybe it takes 10 years because it's newspapers, you know, hard copy stuff.
Right now you have the phone, you have internet, everything is fast-paced.
So things have changed. So you move with the times, but
take advantage
be an expert, have integrity, honesty, serve people, deliver what you tell people. Then there's always an issue in business that sometimes things don't go as they are planned. So being truthful to your clients, if something goes wrong, it's good to communicate, because the fact of trying to hide something also creates some bad discomfort and some forthcoming issues that may not be good. So honesty and always talking, calling things as they are, I think would help somebody move in business.
Right, that is so powerful. I like what you've said, you know, whatever you have, use it and be an expert in it and be so good in it that, you know, you carry so many other people in case you want to, you know, to venture out on your own. Let's say you're in a company. All right, so after 2014, it's been about how many? 7?
We're actually turning 5 years.
5 years. 5 years this Saturday. Oh, congratulations.
10, yes, all right. Is turning 5.
Right. So what are you seeing for yourself, you know, in the future? What is it? Now you've already achieved, you know, a goal. You've started your company. It's doing well. So what next?
Yeah, and that's why I tell people there is no ceiling, because every time you have a new set of goals. So I dreamt to have my own company. I've started it. Yeah. But starting up a new company comes now with new challenges that bring to you now new goals or different goals on different timelines. So far, if I may say, we've been able to set a name. We've been able to do almost 100 installations.
Wow.
That's people's homes, hotels, and apartments. So the next goal is now to grow that, like to have more projects, create more awareness, and sort of reach. I have a goal to reach all counties, because we have installations in different counties, but not yet. And so if I talk about the next 5-year plan, is to cover more of Kenya, have more installations, and then future growth is because this equipment, we get it from Germany, and there's the issue of pricing, although it's quality. So maybe say a 10-year plan is to set up in partnership with our manufacturers, set up like a local manufacturing company, so that we see if it's possible to bring down the price instead of importing. And so that means maybe having more branches, hiring more people, training more people about this wastewater recycling equipment, and a lot of marketing activities. And that comes with having more sophisticated systems of operation within our company, because when you're starting up, you just start with the most simplest viable ways. But as your work becomes more, it gets more complicated, and so it demands for more sophisticated systems and investments.
Right. All right. So finally, I want us to talk about mentorship, because one of the other issues is that many young people say that, you know, once people get to that level now, like where you are, your company is doing so well, we forget about the other people who we've left, at the back, who also need that push, who need that motivation, who need that mentorship. So do you do any mentorship in your own capacity?
Actually, that is one thing I'm very passionate about, mentorship. So you will find me going around universities, around high schools, in different groups, or as myself. Even internally in my own company, I like to transfer all the knowledge. I've been exposed to various international trainings, so I do a lot of in-house transfer of the same knowledge. And if not to do mentorship for anything else, if you think of it in a business perspective, when you mentor people, you're creating future potential ambassadors or continuity for whatever that you like to do.
Building a legacy.
So you're building a legacy, and you're building a future on how whatever you're really passionate about goes. And mentoring is also like bringing up other families. For me, I'm so passionate about the SDGs, by the way. So ending no poverty, ending hunger. So for us to be able to get all this, we really must empower everybody. It shouldn't be a one person succeeding. And the same way, I would like to call to our political leaders that it's good if we are all empowered, because if you're succeeding alone and maybe you live in a very nice home, but you are surrounded by people who do not have, who may start stealing from you or giving you a headache. I think what I have seen with my exposure in the developed world, like in Europe, there's this thing of everybody has prospered. And that's why you will hear there's no issues of criminality. You walk around at night safely, it's secure. It's because this equality thing, it's like everybody has been uplifted. So mentoring is part of uplifting. When you mentor somebody, you impact their life, and they go back and improve their family, they improve on it, they improve on everything. So mentorship is actually, I think, the core.
All right.
Like bringing up everybody behind you and looking up to the ones ahead of us.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Lucy, it's been an amazing conversation with you. Are you on Twitter?
Yes, I'm on Twitter.
Yeah. Tell us your handle. Maybe one or two people will want to follow you and get to know.
Mutinda Lucy, or just look for Engineer Lucy Wanjiku.
Engineer Lucy
Yes,
Wanjiku.
I'm on Twitter, yes.
Right, Engineer Lucy Wanjiku. Thank you so much for your time. It's been amazing having you here on International Women's Day. Really challenging very many people out there, including myself. And thank you very much for the tenets of wisdom. Really
Thank you so much.
And happy International Women's Day still.
To you too.
All right, thank you. All right, so keep the conversation going online. Like I mentioned today, we're celebrating women across the globe, and here, of course, in Kenya, we want now to, of course, highlight another very interesting issue, and the Kenya Land Alliance is today launching the land title issuance disaggregate data analysis report. The objective of this function is to ensure there is an improvement on gender sensitivity when it comes to decision-making processes on women lands right. I want to bring in my colleague Mark Namaswa joining us for more detail. Mark, good morning. I wish I could say Happy International Women's Day to you, but I can't. But maybe to the women in your life. So talk to us about this particular report that is being launched today.
Now, Betty, we are also in the spirit of the International Women's Day, celebrating women at the same time trying to analyze and assess our progress towards empowering of women and upholding of their rights. Right here at the Nairobi Safari Club, the National Kenya Land Alliance is releasing a report concerning the issuance of titles, about 3.4 million titles that have been released ever since the Jubilee government came into power. Now, the audit report is basically meant to highlight the progress made towards the empowerment of women. Looking at the backdrop of the African society, most of the times land rights have been taken away from women, and very many governments across the continent have been making deliberate steps to empower women by making sure that they are part and parcel of the development agenda, and part of that is empowering them through issuance of titles and recognizing their rights towards property ownership. So basically, the report will highlight the progress in the issuance of the titles, about 3.4 million by the Jubilee government, and present an audit report finding concerning how many women have benefited from this issuance of titles across the country. Apart from that, we also have, apart from the Kenya Land Alliance, we also have stakeholders like the National Lands Commission, FIDA, we also have the Kenya Human Rights Commission. So basically, we are in the spirit of the International Women's Day, as well as highlighting the progress made in Kenya towards the land ownership across the country. Back to you, Betty.
All right, Mark Namaswa there. Thank you for that. We'll continue to keep an eye on what's happening there with Mark Namaswa. All right, so remember, we are also just taking up some tweets of who you're celebrating today and why. We want to just highlight a few tweets here and there. Let me just do that right now. And quite a number of them, really, I have to say. Collins Kiplimo, you say, 2 people I celebrate: my loving mother who has brought me up, my best lecturer and mother, Dr. Nancy Buka. She was also my lecturer. They have stood for me all along. Thank you for that. Also, Gilbert Mosonik Jr., you say, I'm happy to see my fellow engineer on screen. Yes, Engineer Lucy, really having that inspirational story of how she was able to, of course, do what she's been able to do so far.